All right, in this video, we're gonna look at advertising and specifically online paid advertising. This is gonna be different from like advertising by mail or I don't know, brochures or newspapers or whatever. Online advertising. So we're gonna look at three aspects of it. Why it's one of the only propellants that is still viable. This isn't the best one. The best one we're gonna talk about in the next video. That one isn't paid at all. But this is the only viable paid solution left. So if you're gonna pay someone, if you're gonna pay an agency for SEO, if you're gonna pay for whatever, this sort of advertising is the only viable one left. We're gonna look at how to measure it, how to track it, how to improve and iterate it so you can reach scale. But also, we're also gonna talk about why you might not want to rely on this, why it's very difficult to sustain. And I wish it was sustainable. This is what we do, but trends are changing, and so we're all gonna have to kind of take a better approach. So let's get into it. So the main reason this approach works better than mailers, better than billboards and all that, is because this is one that targets psychography and not something that targets demographics. If you target psychography, you can target the 16% of people who are willing to engage. You can find out where they are, you can connect with them, and then you can deliver your advertisement. Versus the other stuff, like for example, mailers, which are very demographic targeting. And when you do, you're targeting the entire base of people, not the people who are actually interested. So what happens is your advertising budget, 84% of it gets essentially wasted, and you're only working with, you're down to 16% of your advertising budget before anything even happens. So this is one of the main advantages that psychography has, and is one of the reasons why we're able to achieve like cost difference, like you saw before, $3,600 versus $60. It's because of psychography. So two examples of platforms that target by psychography: Meta ads, Google ads. We're able to target people's interests. We're able to target what people are looking for, what's on their mind, because on Google, they're literally searching it out. And if we know that, if we can identify what mind state they're in, what they're interested in, we just connect with it and deliver an ad that says, hey, is this what you're looking for? We offer it. Similar with Meta. Meta lets us target based on preferences, based on interest, based on what interests them. So we know what they desire, and we can serve ads to them saying, hey, you desired this. Is this something else you might desire? So psychographic versus demographics. If you're looking for a method of advertising or a method of doing something, I would first recommend, does it follow or does it break down into this? Again, it ties into our whole concept of what modern marketing is and why it's so much more effective today. All right, now let's take a look at how to actually win the game of online advertising. So for Meta and Google, these are the two major platforms that we're gonna look at today. If you understand how it works on these two platforms, every other platform is just a copycat of them, so you'll know how to do well on those platforms as well. The two key KPIs that we care about is going to be LTV and CPA. And if you don't know what that is, LTV is the patient lifetime value, and then CPA is cost per acquisition, how much it costs you to get that patient who will pay you the average lifetime value. So you have to know these two numbers. One mistake is to go into your database and just average out the numbers. That's not the way to do it. What happens is patients you get through advertising are going to come in with lower trust than patients who come into you through referrals organically and so on. If they come from you from advertising, it's probably led by an offer. It's probably more urgency based. It's probably they were in a mindset of less trust when they came in. If they came to you through a referral, you had the network effect and the culture effect, culture loop on your side. Whoever referred you transferred their trust to that other person, or to you for that other person. So now they come in with more trust, and now their average lifetime value is going to be higher. So that's why when you take a lifetime value, people typically just do it by the entire patient population, but do it by the lifetime value from people coming from ads. All right, so in this, let's assume that the LTV is about $10,000, 10K. So whatever campaign you're doing, whatever service you're trying to, whatever treatment you're trying to sell, whoever comes in as a patient, you end up with about 10K per person. Your cost per acquisition, in this case, let's say it's $2,000. I don't know why I wrote K and then 2,000, but it's $2,000. So there's two scenarios that can happen, obviously, and I've wrote out one of them. So LTV is greater than CPA. In this case, it is. Or CPA is greater than LTV. Again, LTV of ads. When your lifetime value exceeds your CPA, what that essentially means is it costs me $2,000. I have to spend $2,000 for me to make $10,000. So that's a 5,000% ROI. So that is very good. We like that. And so here we want to spend as much as we can on this advertising method. So when people ask, what should my marketing budget be? It is a subjective answer once you have achieved this. If you haven't achieved this, if your CPA is, let's say, $12,000, you shouldn't be spending much on advertising at all. You should be trying to fix this before working on your advertising. Maybe spend a bit to get the early adopters in, fix it, get this down, and then scale up. It's just the cost of working out your advertising system maybe. But I'll show you that maybe that's not the approach either. So back to this, LTV, $10,000, $2,000. So we're gonna spend as much as we can because we like making more money when we like spending $2 and getting $10 back. The problem is when we do this at scale, we get diminishing returns. Let's say you or all the low-hanging fruit get picked, then you have to move higher and up the apple tree. It gets harder and harder to pick. Same thing here. Like when you get everyone in your local area, you start having to expand out. There's more competition. Platforms are going to charge you more to advertise further away because they know that people don't care as much about businesses that are further away. And for a lot of reasons, the price goes up. So the cost per acquisition starts to go up as you start increasing or as you start scaling. Also, the lifetime value of ads goes down because you start getting like more and more fringe patients, people who are further away, people who are less committed. So lifetime value starts to shrink. So you get increasing costs, diminishing returns until you meet neutral. And that's when you sort of like mellow out, and that's when you sustain that budget. Until you improve a system, then you can increase the budget more. You drop cost per acquisition or something, or you increase lifetime value. The old way was to increase lifetime value or decrease cost per acquisition, but I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, so most cases, it's not going to be that. This is very hard to achieve. This actually takes a lot of work to do. It's not like you run ads, you let it happen, and we land on this and you're good to go. No, 99 times out of 100, it's going to be CPA is greater than LTV. So that means your cost per acquisition costs more than the money that you're going to make. So let's say it costs you $12,000 to get one patient, who's going to bring you $10,000. These are crazy numbers. That's not what's actually going to happen. It's probably going to be like more like $600 or like $400 when you first start. This is just an example of CPA being higher than LTV. So $12,000 to generate $10,000. Obviously, that's not what we want. So we have to go to the system. Again, direct marketing, the main North Star is going to be ROI, which is determined by this. And also, we get ROI through tracking and iteration. So tracking enables troubleshooting. And when we enable troubleshooting, we enable iteration, we enable improvement. So that's why tracking is so important. If you don't have tracking, you're probably gonna end up with this anyway, and you're not gonna know how to improve it. And so if you're not tracking, don't do ads. Like, it's never gonna get better, right? Tracking is the path to better in advertising. All right, so now we're tracking. What do we do? So there's 4 metrics we need to track: total spend, your impressions, number of clicks, number of conversions. So 4 metrics, one of them is just total spend because we need to know cost per acquisition, and 3 of them are performance-based KPIs: impressions, clicks, and conversions. Impressions are how many people see your ad. Okay, if it's on Meta, how many people did our ad go out and display to? If it's on Google, of the searches that are happening each month, how many of them saw our ad? Clicks are how many people clicked on our ad. So from Google, how many people clicked to end up on our landing page? Or from Meta, how many people clicked to end up on our landing page? And then conversions is from our landing page, did they take the action we wanted them to take? Did they book an appointment? Did they call our office? Did they fill out a form? If they did, then that would be considered a conversion. If not, it wouldn't. The goal is to optimize for conversions. So if we can pay to get more conversions, that's good. If we can pay less to get the same number of conversions, that's also good. So this is the game we're playing. This isn't a performance metric though, so don't look at money. We start with impressions. Meta, we're gonna look at Meta and Google. And I think I mentioned that like everything is basically a copycat of Meta and Google. So if you know how to improve this funnel here, you can do that anywhere really. The way you market on Meta is graphic driven. You have to create a design. It's going to be very rare that you can advertise on Meta without a graphic. If your impressions are low, that means your graphic is bad. Meta has a lot of ways to analyze your graphic. So if you have a human face on it, they're going to analyze the face for facial expressions to see what emotion that face is showing. So let's say you have a graphic and it shows a sad person with like maybe a toothache, right? And you think, oh wow, this is great. It's going to connect with people, and as a result, they're going to take action. Very wrong. Meta, what's more important for Meta and Google than making money from advertisers is user experience. So if Meta starts showing a lot of ads of just unhappy people on their platform, people are going to be unhappy on Meta and they're going to go somewhere else. So Meta is going to scan your design and say, okay, this is showing an unhappy person. I'm actually going to throttle the number of people who could see it on my platform. We're going to test to see if this is somehow an amazing offer or something that people actually love. Chances are it's not, because it's just a commodity ad. Because it's not, they're going to throttle it. They're not going to show it to more people. So you have to do a lot of work on the graphic and to figure out, is this an ad that's going to help me get better impressions? With Google, the main metric is going to be quality score. And quality score is going to be composed of your landing page and how closely aligned that is with the keyword that you're trying to target. So if Google determines, let's say we want to show up on Google for people who search dentist near me, but my landing page actually is me selling cars. I'm trying to get in to sell, or like let's say it's for people, it's for like dog owners, right? But it's actually me as a dentist trying to sell my dental services. Then that is a very poor quality score because there's a mismatch between the landing page and the keyword. And that makes sense because it might be cheap to advertise to people who are searching for dog stuff. And then I come in with the dental stuff, hoping that they might need some dental care. Google doesn't want that. That's a bad user experience. So quality score, here we have quality score is how you improve impressions. And on Meta, it's going to be the design or graphic. All right, now from here, if you want to optimize for clicks, it's going to be the design itself again. Well, it's actually going to be the offer. So how clear and desirable is your offer on that design? So we have offer. And okay, so this is one of the downfalls of Google. How to optimize clicks. It's actually headlines. Headlines are the first thing they're going to see about your ad, before your landing page, before anything. The problem is that to optimize for clicks, we have to match their search very closely. So there's almost an algorithmic way of optimizing for clicks. So what does that mean? Every advertiser is trying to create the same variation of ad for the click. And what happens there is now you get a ton of just commodity headlines and commodity results, all because we're trying to impress the Google algorithm to give us better costs and better impressions and things like that. So that's why I never really liked Google as a way to differentiate or a way to stand apart. But it works because we're dealing with very high intent people. All right, so the problem with Google is that you're accepting that you're a commodity and you're going into the commodity market hoping that you're gonna win. And you're gonna win because your strategy is better, because you're not doing demographic targeting, you're doing psychographic targeting, you're choosing Google Ads, and that's what's already putting you in the advantage. But again, not that much of an advantage. All right, headlines, offer. Now we get to the landing page, which is your website. And the reason we have to do it to your website now, the reason we don't go straight to phone call, here, I mean, we still do, but a lot less, is because of a lot of tracking regulations, things like that. And also, when you get people who aren't willing to take another step to go to the website, to ensure that this is the right thing before they give you a phone call or something, you deal with a lot of spam, you deal with a lot of people with low intent. And so adding another step of friction is actually good. A click onto a website into a calling, just one more step, it's a good balance between filtering out spam, like people who aren't actually interested, and not being too difficult for people who actually are interested. So we have landing pages, and the way we optimize this is landing page optimization. You want to build landing pages very well. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. Page speed, you want the offer above the fold. You want, You want social proof right next to the call to actions, right above or right below it. You want to have sticky, call to actions. One thing to keep in mind is landing pages are visited 80% of them from mobile phones now. So make sure it's built for mobile first, and then you start taking care of the desktop users. But yeah, work on landing page conversions. Look at the industry averages for each of these KPIs. Conversion is somewhere around 5 to 15%. For some of our clients, we're at around 25%. So only way you can know what to improve and how to improve it is if you're tracking everything. All right, so through tracking, now you can improve your design, and you see this number increasing, or improve your offer, you see this number increasing, and improve your conversions, and you see this number increasing. So what happens? You get more conversions for the same amount of dollars as you increase your performance. And therefore, your cost per acquisition go down. Now, you do that enough times, you hopefully get to the holy grail, which is a higher LTV than CPA, and you just scale as much as you can. That was the theory, and that's how it used to work until this stuff happened. So, jaded audience. If you can imagine how old the internet is, it's actually very young. The popular internet as we know it is about 30 years old. And social media as we know it is probably around 15 years old. So if you can imagine social media being like a rebellious teen, that's kind of how the audience is. People are aggressively avoiding advertisements. They're installing advertisement blockers. They're avoiding tracking. They're opting out of stuff. They're actively asking to not be advertised to. Think of all the websites you visit where the banner pops up and it talks about like cookie policies. That's all privacy regulations. But like people are opting out of stuff now. They're not just blindly accepting everything. So an audience is increasingly becoming jaded. They're increasingly disliking ads, while at the same time, they're trying to show more ads. So what happens is they have to increase the price of ads, because if you have a jaded audience who hates ads and you start showing more ads, what happens? They start leaving the platform. Meta is showing me too many ads, I'm going to go spend my time somewhere else. Or YouTube is now showing me 2 ads at a time, I'm going to try a different video service. So to combat that, they're just going to take more money out of the advertisers and say, hey, it's going to be more expensive if you want to work on our platform now, because there's a cost to this. Like, people are not enjoying ads as much as, well, they never did, but they're enjoying it even less now. And then you get privacy regulations. So back in around 2015, let me see if it was 2015, or it was around, might have been around 2020 or so, we got hit with iOS 14 or iOS 15. And it was this huge privacy regulation that happened with Apple. And what happened was some people's businesses were just completely wiped overnight, because the way they were targeting was was an invasion of privacy, but it was very effective. And now, because of privacy regulations, they can't do it anymore. And so basically it gutted a lot of the potential strategies people could take on ads. I think overall it was a good thing. I like my privacy. I don't know about you, but for advertising, it was a very bad thing. Combine it with health tracking restrictions and algorithmic restrictions. And what this means is, like, when you advertise on Google or Meta, you have to identify if you're a healthcare provider or not, or like you have to specify what industry you're in. And when you do that, they're going to give you a lot of restrictions. Hey, you can't track a certain way. You can't track certain behaviors. That's another reason why we take them onto our website and we have to set up all this fancy tracking mechanisms, is because the normal way, the easy way to do it, isn't available for us anymore. We also can't use algorithms to optimize for certain events based on health. So a lot of our ability to improve has actually been harmed. And so the path to doing this, to iterating and getting to lifetime value being higher than CPA, is much, much harder, and it's going to take a much longer time, simply because our ability to troubleshoot and iterate has been affected really heavily with these things. And I think I've already covered platform penetration, or maybe I didn't. But basically, Meta and Google, they have market penetration. Where else are you going to go to target people psychographically? The other options are just demographics, and we already know that it's ineffective. So all the advertisers who are in the know are going to be advertising on Meta or Google. Therefore, what they can do is they can just say, hey, I know it was costing you $2 per person to advertise to before. Now we're going to up it to $3. And what are you going to do? Go to a demographic space like mailers and then start paying 60 times more? So they have platform penetration. So these platforms can start raising the prices. So what we get essentially is decreased ability to improve our CPA, increased CPA from a jaded audience, increased platform penetration, which increases our CPA. Again, back to jaded audience, lowering our lifetime value because there's decreased trust. And you can see how this gets very, like, the game is becoming less and less sustainable every day. And it's becoming harder and harder to achieve this every day. So in a nutshell, that's what advertising is. If you're doing it very well, just know that the market really is shifting, like, as we speak, to favor the consumer and not the advertiser anymore, which I think is a very good thing. It just means that in a changing market, we just have to really switch up our approach. So that's why I am so passionate about this. We provide advertising. This is my bread and butter, but unfortunately, this just isn't working out the same way it used to. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this module. I'll see you in the next one where we look at permission assets, which is the best way to, which is the best type of propellant. So there's some good news waiting for us.